Hello YouTube! The reason that I'm filming this video indoors and not outdoors in the sunshine is because it's pouring rain right now. Like literally it's been raining for hours and it's supposed to rain for like another 6-7 hours. So I call that forced periodization. Periodization, if you don't know, that's like, you cycle one day, the next day you walk, the next day after that, you mix it up. So periodization can also be sitting around doing nothing, filming a video, I guess that's not really exercise, but sitting around doing nothing is exercise if you're resting to exercise, because it's still exercise related. Rest is important. It's just forced rest, forced periodization. Today's video is going to be a quick review of Velocity Deep V rims. Let's take a look at these rims. So I've ran 2 sets of these rims. They are made in USA, if that matters to you. They're called Deep V because they're 33 millimeters deep, which really isn't that deep, but they're deep rims. They're if you don't know, the deeper your rims are, when we're talking about deep, we're talking about the distance from the tire to where you see the spokes. The deeper your rims are, the more aerodynamic your wheels are in theory. Are they actually more aerodynamic? And also, the deeper they are, the faster you go, the more aerodynamic they'll be. If you don't know, when you're riding, everybody talks about gear ratios and, tire pressures, and they talk about this, and, sealed bearings versus ball bearings, and the number one thing that you fight when you're cycling, the number one thing that you fight is aerodynamics. You fight the wind. You fight the wind. If you ever go outside on a day when there's no wind, and you just roll around, you roll forever. Like on this bike will roll for 3, 4, 5 blocks. You just take 2 pedals, it'll just keep rolling pretty much, it just rolls and rolls and rolls. But if there's wind, that's not the case. The wind is the number one thing you fight. So aerodynamics is super important. The problem with aerodynamics is the wind is not always coming from the same direction. I always say it's a headwind from all directions. And people say, how could you have a headwind from all directions? I'm like, no, dude, when I ride, seriously, it's a headwind from all directions. Unless it's insanely strong wind and you're catching a tailwind, which does happen. But if it's 10-mile-an-hour wind and you have a tailwind and you're going 15 miles an hour, that's 5-mile-an-hour headwind. If it's 10-mile-an-hour wind and you're going straight into the wind and you're going 15 miles an hour, that's 25-mile-an-hour headwind. The wind's coming from the side, that's headwind, may as well be, because it's still slowing you down. So in theory, the deeper your rims are, the faster you'll be. The faster you go, the more the impact the deep rim has on you being aerodynamic. These rims are like kind of a happy medium. They still catch side wind because they are deep. They're just like kind of flat surfaces. They're here. You can see how they're shaped too. See how it comes to a point here? So picture this like slicing through the wind. It's like an aeroplane. See that how it comes to not a point, but you see that? And they're literally shaped like a V, so they slice through the wind. That's how they're shaped and that's how they work. These are a good happy medium. If you just run like, if you ride like just a conventional, like a box rim, that where I just showed you where it comes to a point, and if you ride just rims that just have a flat surface there, and then you switch to these, you'll notice that these are worse for side wind. Blows your front end around. I notice it right away. Like if you go to ride with no hands, you got to be careful. But if there's side winds or if it's gusty, because it could blow the front end out from under you. And so you'll notice that right away, and that'll tell you right away that, man, these deep V rims aren't all they're cracked up to be when it comes to side wind. And then also they're heavier than a standard, like a box rim, but they are fast. They are fast. Unless it's crazy side wind, unless it's, conditions like that, I feel like these rims are fast. Also, I tend to ride, my cadence, if I'm just rolling around, I'm going about 65 RPM. With this is 4917. I'm going to just talk about this gearing because that's what I'm running currently. At 65 RPM, I'm going exactly like 15 miles an hour. 14 and a half. I think at 70 RPM, I'm going a little over 15 miles an hour based on the gearing. So, so that's moving pretty good. Is that fast enough to benefit from the deep V rims? It's just kind of at that point. In other words, if you're riding around the city and you're going stop and go, stop signs, stop lights, having the deep V rims, the downside is they're heavier and they're catching side wind. If you just want to roll through the city with no hands, it's annoying. They catch more side wind. That's the only downsides I could see of these rims. But if you want to move at a pretty good clip like me, if I'm cruising at 15 miles an hour, I like these because when I do get my cadence up to like 80 RPM and I start hitting like 20 miles an hour, even 18, 19 miles an hour, 21, 22 miles an hour, that's when you'll notice that these rims are faster. You'll notice you're like, man, I'm slipstreaming, like almost. It feels like that. It feels like you're drafting off a car almost. They just feel faster. If you want to find all this out, get 2 sets of rims, run a set of box rims one day, and then the next day run a set of deep V's, and switch it up. Or even if you have 2 bikes, or if you just ride a lot and you have experience riding different styles of rims, it can take a long time to really truly understand and truly experience the benefits and the downsides to rims, because every day is different. The wind is different. People online, you could go read about it, you could watch videos, but that's not really going to help you either. This video is not going to help you much because where you live is different terrain from where I live. Depending on the roughness of the road, and there's so many things that can affect your experience with riding. So nobody can say, oh, these are faster or these are slower. Nobody can say that because it depends on the conditions. There's somebody right now who has really deep rims, looking real racy and looking cool, and he lives in Florida and it's perfectly flat and maybe the roads are freshly paved, and he rides 20 miles to work and 20 miles back on freshly paved roads with 23 millimeter tires, and and he just, oh man, these are the fastest, this is what you need. It's like, no, somebody else in another state with a different bicycle under different conditions, that might not be a good setup. So it really just depends on where you're riding and what you're doing. But these deep V rims are kind of a good happy medium. I told you the downsides of them. They catch side wind and they're a little bit heavier. The upsides, I told you that when you do get your speed up into the upper teens, lower 20s, they are faster. I can tell you that. Even with if it was a crazy storm with side wind, maybe it would slow you down. But when you start going faster and you're really hitting that wind, the wind increases, I feel like they're faster, just in general. Maybe not under every circumstances, but 90% of the time, if you're going 20 miles an hour on these, you'll be faster than if you're going 20 miles an hour on like some basic, box rims.